Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to Ben on the Fen, but not on the Fen today, just outside Pensthorpe Nature Reserve. And got a guest with me again, I did promise, and hopefully you've seen it advertised. I have got Nicki Williamson with me.
Good afternoon, everybody.
So, Nicki, I met online, didn't we? Back in October, November last year as part of an online networking referral group. And we've spoken quite a few times. Nicki's done some work with the school that I'm a trustee of as well. And obviously it is Mental Health Awareness Month, isn't it? I think as well.
Yes.
Yeah. So for Nicki is a mental health practitioner. Have I got that right? Yes, that is right. I'll make sure I get your description right.
Yep.
So we're going to have a bit of a walk and talk about mental health in business, whether you're a business owner, for your employees, and various other topics around that. So we are going to take a walk. It is a little bit windy, but hopefully you can hear us clear. And obviously we are in the middle of Norfolk, so you never know what the signal's going to do. But anyway, I'll let Nicki introduce herself. Yeah, over to you.
Thank you very much. So I'm Nicki. My company is No Time Like Now, and we founded in 2016. We're all about positive mental health, whether it be working with individuals, predominantly through anxiety and depression, or working in schools to build resilience and self-esteem for children, or with employers to embed positive mental health strategies into the business so that your staff are more engaged, increase resilience, and less sickness absence.
Yeah, that is a big one, isn't it? There's so many people now that are suffering with mental health conditions, which for businesses is a huge cost. They're having to bring other people in, or they're not being able to fulfill work because of the amount of time that people are off. So,
and also the key point is a lot of the time individuals in their teams, depending on the culture of the company, won't actually say that they are suffering with stress or that they've got a mental health condition. They would rather give another reason. And very often, as an employer, if you look at your mental health record, or your sickness absence record, look at musculoskeletal, very often key indicator for stress or poor mental health, and also continual headaches, things like that. So very often people won't share how they feel with their employers because there is still this fear that they come across as weak or incapable in terms of their job.
It's a huge stigma, isn't it?
It is.
And we've just been having a nice spot of lunch before we came, talking about bits and pieces. And there is a bit of a generational divide, isn't there, when it comes to mental health? You've got the older generation who suck it up, get on with it. Yeah, what's wrong with you?
Yeah.
And the younger generation who are, we won't use the term that we were talking about, but a little bit more lightweight when it comes to their mental resilience. Is that a good way of putting it?
Yeah, certainly less resilience than older generations, for sure.
I know that speaking to other people who I know, there's almost the older generation have been through things that have meant they've had to be more resilient to a degree. I mean, you look back at the last 20, 30 years, maybe 40 years, the world has been very stable. There's not been any issues, quite economically, lots of work, lots of jobs, good economic growth. And we are now going into a phase, aren't we, with what's going on around the world, and AI possibly is something that could create it. Social media is a big one, isn't it?
Social media is a huge creator of poor mental health, particularly for young adults and teenagers, and especially around body image, self-esteem. I find there's a stat, 85% of adults have low self-esteem, and probably 95% of the clients that I work with around their poor mental health stems from low self-esteem, which is why it's so important to build our resilience, build our self-esteem from a young age if possible, so that we're less likely to trigger these mental health issues in the future.
Good. Right, we had a little bit of an intro there. I have got some questions for Nicki, which hopefully she will be able to answer, and they all kind of relate to business, because that's what I am. I run my own business. Nicki's got her own business. I'm an employer. I've got members of staff. I think probably a couple of them may well be watching. Someone's just said hello. I'm not sure who, because it's cut out. Anyway, early signs and warnings and signs of stress. How can individuals and team members and employers look out for it, basically? What are the signs?
Okay, so let's talk first about how you can recognise signs of early burnout and stress in yourself. Very often it will be things like tension, headaches, mood swings, snappy, etc. Things like that. But racing heart is a good one, tight chest, sometimes shortness of breath. So they're all the physical symptoms that you can recognise because you're the one experiencing those symptoms. But actually, if you were to look at somebody experiencing those symptoms, you wouldn't necessarily know. It's quite easy to hide those things. So as an employer and as a team working with individuals and with your colleagues, the biggest thing to think about is the change in that individual. So if somebody becomes more withdrawn, less engaging, stops maybe attending work functions that they might normally have been part of, or kind of withdraws, and equally in the opposite way, if they become more snappy and aggressive or angry, those kind of things, they're probably the two key ways that as an employer you can spot some signs of poor mental health. The only way you will ever really know though is to have those conversations with the individual and ask them, are they okay?
I think as a small employer, we've got a team of 9. It's probably easier because we see each other regularly. You become friends as well as work colleagues. Whereas perhaps in the larger organisations, I'm talking sort of 100+ employees, perhaps you can be there and you get a bit lost.
Yeah, certainly.
So it's really the employers really do need to promote it and make sure the rest of the team are looking out for these signs and issues.
Absolutely. So I do specific training for employers and their teams on spotting signs and symptoms of poor mental health and stress, and how to have those initial conversations, because very often, even if you identify that somebody is struggling, a lot of people fear asking those questions. And there's a lot of what ifs. What if they're not okay? What can I do? What if I say the wrong thing? That's very often one of the biggest fears. What if I so therefore, rather than approach the individual, they'll just ignore it. And that's probably even worse than not noticing it at all.
You talk about the fear. I think that's probably coming from, obviously there's increased legislation around what you can and can't say. So people don't want to say the wrong thing in case they get accused of discrimination or bullying or something like that. So it is a fine line.
It is a fine line, but I always say, if you think that somebody might be struggling, there is no reason why you couldn't ask that question.
No.
Just, are you okay? But don't just say, are you okay? And they say yes, and then carry on. Say, no, are you really okay?
Yes.
And then you're more likely to get a response.
Yeah, and we're all guilty of it. You make that phone call, don't you, as well? Sometimes somebody, how's things? Yeah, fine.
Yeah.
I'm okay. Yeah. Not too bad. That's a Norfolk one, isn't it? Not too bad. So, anyway, next question, next topic. Obviously, since COVID came along, we've seen the rise in hybrid and flexible working. So, those of you who don't know, hybrid working is where there's an office and home. People are working between the two, and a huge increase in just generally home working as well. Now, from what you've seen, what you've experienced, have you seen any changes to mental health issues?
No, and we spoke about this earlier, didn't we? No, I actually see the flexibility that individuals now have has given a positive impact on mental health. I haven't seen any particular additional challenges in any way. COVID itself brought around a lot of mental health issues in terms of anxiety, especially as the lockdown lifted. But in terms of hybrid working, then no, I haven't seen any change. The difference with this is, as an employer, when you're not in the office like you are with your team, how do you then notice the change in behaviours? How do you then support your teams in terms of mental health? And for me, it's all about communication. Yeah. Talking to individuals daily check-ins. I know certainly a lot of the employers I work with will have a morning meeting online, check in with all the team. But also talking about if as an employee you talk about mental health on a regular basis, it becomes easier for the teams to be able to highlight any issues as they arise for them.
Yeah, it's like anything. The more you talk about it, the more open people are to having the conversations.
Yeah.
So no, that's good. We've talked about building resilience already, haven't we? So is there any sort of practical tools maybe that people could, obviously this is getting a bit deeper and it is kind of stuff that you teach, but maybe one or two little tools that you could give to people to say, this is how you could build your resilience a bit.
Okay, so it's about a lot of this. Building resilience is a lot about feeling the fear and doing it anyway. And when we feel the fear, it's about managing those feelings so that we continue to do the thing that's causing us the challenge.
Yes.
So there's lots of breath exercises that you can do. One of the key things that I teach people, particularly in terms of anxiety and stress, is something called 3 things.
Right.
So very often, when we're feeling the way we're feeling, it's all very much in our heads, and the thoughts are spinning around in our heads, and we don't get a moment to just breathe.
No.
So it's about getting out of your own head just for even 30 seconds to be able to relax your mind. So 3 things is a really good technique. All you need to do is think, okay, so right now, then, what 3 colours can you see right now?
Green, blue and white.
Okay.
White's not a colour there, but yeah, that'll do.
Okay, that's fine. What 3 things can you hear?
I can hear the wind, which you probably all can too. I can hear birds and I can hear a man driving his van.
Brilliant. And what 3 things can you feel? Not in terms of emotion.
Yeah, I can feel the coolness of the wind. I can feel the crunchiness of the gravel under the feet. Blimey. And I can feel my selfie stick in my hand. Yeah, that's good.
So just for that 30 seconds or so, you're completely outside your own head. All the negative thinking, the overthinking has stopped, and it's allowed your mind that time to just calm down.
That's really good.
It's a really quick, effective technique that you could do anywhere.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's really useful. Hopefully a few people will give that one a go. If you're sitting here watching, you're feeling a bit stressed, 3 things. Very good. Okay. We talked about looking out for colleagues, mental health for employees and for colleagues at work. But I think, and something we discussed, people often forget about the employers, the directors, the business owners, who are probably under some of the biggest pressures and stresses, aren't they?
Yeah.
They're worrying about making payroll at the end of the month. They're worrying about delivering on a service, or they're worrying about, oh, crikey, I don't want to finish at 6 o'clock because actually I want to get home and spend time with my family. And that's a huge thing. What can businesses do or business owners do to support their own mental well-being?
Okay, I think it's exactly the same as any individual can do. Certainly, and we talked about, as I say, delegation and all those kind of things that I'm not here to talk to you about how to manage a business. But it is about recognising why you're doing this. So for you, I'm guessing you're running your business to support your family and to be able to have family time. But then you need to have a balance, because if all you're doing is working, then you're not achieving your goals.
No.
So it has to be about balance. It has to be about you taking time to reflect and be able to improve your own mental health, support your own mental health. So you do your walks, don't you? We were talking about that.
Yeah.
Find something that is your breakaway. We were also talking earlier about how some of your best ideas come to you when you remove yourself from a situation and just take 5 minutes out. So regular time away is a really good, it's not something that should be seen as, I don't have time. You're actually more effective if you've taken that time. So
good example of that, sorry to chip in, is making sure you take your lunch break. I'm talking to you, More Free Time team. They're very guilty of just working through lunch. They don't take a break. But I think with our sponsored walk we're doing, they are getting better at taking themselves out for half an hour. But yeah, I know from working in larger companies, you don't get paid for that lunch break.
no, you don't know.
And you're giving the company free time.
And actually,
So-
studies have proven that you're more effective having taken a break in the
definitely.
afternoon. So you're actually doing yourself a favour. So
You know,
it is about
you know what it's
taking
like.
that break.
Sat at your desk all morning, gets to 3 o'clock, and you can just feel yourself struggling.
Yeah, flagging.
So yeah, and we talked a bit earlier, and I talked about it with Taylor a couple of weeks ago. His technique is yeah, we'll go down this way. We'll just walk around the car park. His technique is if he's feeling like he's getting stressed, under pressure, half an hour walk outside, like you say, put a podcast on, do his 3 things, whatever it is it might be. It helps you reset, doesn't it?
It does. But also remember that you're human, and very often, particularly in larger organisations, senior management, CEO, become less and less human. But actually talking to your team about I'm feeling a bit stressed today, I just need some time away.
Yeah.
Not only does that help them to understand you as a person and therefore give you more support, but also allows them to be able to think, oh, actually, it's okay for me to say that I'm struggling. And embedding that culture of wellbeing across an organisation will not only improve the work environment for your teams, but also for yourself.
It's leading by example, isn't it?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah, which is in all aspects of running a business, but yeah, looking after yourself. And I remember I had a business coaching session about a year ago, just over. Mark Williams is his name, and he said to me, Ben, he said, you can do all this. He said, but you need, who's going to be, if you're trying to run around and look after everybody else, who's looking after you? The only person who can look after you really is you.
Yeah, you can't pour from an empty cup.
Exactly.
And that's the thing that you need to keep as a priority.
Yes. Okay, so we'll get into a bit more nitty gritty the next one. So we have kind of alluded to it already. How can you encourage people to talk if they are struggling, they're having issues, it's affecting their work performance, maybe they're off sick a lot? What strategies as an employer can you put in place to make sure? I know we kind of talked about it's communication, isn't it?
It's communication. One of the key things that I've found with employers that I work with, though, is that when they carry out, so you're aware, HSE requirement to manage stress in the workplace, and as part of that, you can carry out like an assessment, a conversation on an annual basis with each team member to talk about how they're feeling. And you can add into that things about outside of work, not just inside. So to do that on a regular basis means that you're constantly having conversations, even if there's nothing wrong. But that means that when you go to approach an individual that you feel might be struggling, they are more likely to open up, because you've constantly and consistently provided support, whether it's needed or not.
Yeah.
And had those conversations. Ultimately, though, and I say this in a lot of my training, if an individual doesn't want help and doesn't want to talk about it, there's very little that you can do. As an employer, as long as you've done everything you can, you've got evidence that you've provided support, that you've asked the questions, etc., then as an employer, that really is all you can do.
Yeah. It's because, and I did a course on this actually yesterday with a client. It's about, as an employer, it's about managing risk. It's making sure you're doing what the most that you can to help people to manage that risk that someone, well, if they've got issues, they hopefully will come forward and talk about it. But yeah, making sure
you can't. And a lot of the time when I'm delivering the training, and people disclose, issues that maybe their brother has or their mum or whatever it might be, and that they've tried talking to them, they've tried to encourage them to get the help, but they absolutely just refuse. And that's maybe the most challenging thing, is because they say to me, how do I make them? And I say, you can't.
no.
And that's the worst thing. People decide but yeah, as you say, as long as you're doing everything you can as an employer, then
You get that, a lot of people, that knee-jerk You say, oh, what's wrong? What's wrong? What's me? If you've got good employees, so I can take them out for a coffee, have a one-to-one, have a chat, and people then open up. And it even doesn't have to be as a business owner. It doesn't have to be you. You could ask one of your colleagues, look, I think so and such looks like they're struggling a bit. Would you mind having a chat with them?
Yeah, pick the person that's got the best rapport with the other person, and they're more likely to talk.
Yeah. Cool. Well, that's been really good. So we're going to start to wrap up a bit now, because it is a few minutes in, 20 minutes.
Wow.
It goes quick, doesn't it?
It
does go quick. Nikki was a bit nervous.
Yeah, I don't like being on video. It's my worst nightmare.
And she's got the shades on.
No,
herself up.
That's not true. That's why I've got the shades on.
Yeah. Well, you founded your business, No Time Like Now, with a mission to help people thrive. So what inspired you to start this journey, and has your approach to what you do changed over time?
Okay. So my inspiration for this journey was I myself as a child had low self-esteem, and I think I could have done my life would have had a different journey had I had more self-esteem and confidence. And then at the age of 24, I experienced poor mental health myself. I had anxiety, I had panic attacks, and really wasn't in a good place. I got myself around. I didn't take medication, not that medication has its place, absolutely, but I used different tools and techniques to improve my mental health. And I'm a firm believer that if I had high self-esteem and resilience as a child, then I would not have had anxiety when I was 24.
No.
So very often, and now when I look at children, this is where the Shine Time programme comes in terms of recovery in schools. Because if we can give children the tools and techniques to build their resilience and their self-esteem from a young age, then that's my inspiration, that's my passion, is to help people realise their true potential and to be free of things that are holding them back, such as anxiety. And children, you know, the fear of confidence, of exam stress and all of those kind of things. It's just, I want to be able to, that's what inspires me. Has anything changed? No. I mean, I haven't always done this. This has been my life since 2016, but I've always had that passion about building self-esteem and resilience for children. And now it's almost like I don't feel like I'm at work. Like every day I just feel grateful that I'm given the opportunity to be able to do what I do, and hope that I can do more of it.
You have found, and the Japanese call this, your ikigai. You heard that before?
No.
Your ikigai, and this was from a training we had Rich Wills in, who did some training with the team. If you can find your ikigai, that is your purpose for life.
Okay. And
it's something that you are good at, something you enjoy, something that other people want, and it's something that you can make money from.
Oh yeah,
and if you've got all four of them, you have got your ikigai. There you go. If you're watching, Rich, look, someone has found their ikigai.
Thank you.
He said that he had as well. So yes,
so you just need to find yours.
Yes, yeah, accounting. It's nearly there. It's nearly there. Bookkeeping, but no, dealing with business owners, I think probably, and people. I like people.
Yeah.
So
more of these.
Yeah, more of these, and I have got more booked, everybody. So watch this space for those to be released. But no, it's been an absolute pleasure.
Thank you.
To have a chat with Nicki today. Hope a few of you who are watching will like, comment, follow, connect with Nicki on LinkedIn. Hopefully engage with her to help your workforce with their mental health, or your management, or whatever it is that needs doing. So you can go in and speak with directors and board members or management. Absolutely. Or you can deliver to the whole team, can't you?
Yeah.
So then it'll be you can design the course, whatever it is, to the relevant
the individual the company. Absolutely, yeah. And it's the ROI is huge.
Yeah, I think, and this is where, I don't know, hopefully it comes across when people listen to me rambling on my videos, and people who know me and meet me, promoting well-being and promoting kindness, just being a decent person. It just goes a long way, doesn't it? It does. And there's too much negativity in the world, so always try and find the positives. And yes, if something's broken, most of the time you can fix it. If something goes wrong, you can fix it. I won't use the phrase that my friend James uses because it's a bit morbid. But yes. So that is all from Nicki.
Thank you, everybody.
So yeah, thank you very much, Nicki. I will be back for the usual talks and whatever else I'm doing Monday to Thursday next week. I will be live again next Friday. It'll be an early start, 8 a.m. with Megan Howard from Larkin Gowan. She's an accountant over there, and I've known Megan since a 18-year-old trainee. She did a lot of work for one of the best bookkeepers in Norfolk, and has progressed her way all the way to senior manager in those 11 years. So it's a really exciting opportunity for me to talk to someone not only who worked for me, but I still work with quite closely, on mutual clients, hear about her journey, some of the issues that are going on in the accounting and business world. And so that'll be next Friday. And then the following Friday, got people booking up now. I will have Chris Reeve from Chris Reeve Social Media. Some of you will know Chris. He's all over LinkedIn, YouTube. He's a huge Norwich City fan, so I'm sure we'll be talking about football at some point. Because we know we've got 6 points next year, don't we, Chris, off those boys down the road. But anyway, Megan next week, Chris the following week. Lastly, if you are watching and you've been following us on the socials, you will see that More Free Time are doing a collective sponsored walk through June to raise money for Dereham Cancer Care. It's a charity very close to our hearts, being a Dereham-based business, and they have supported staff members who've had family bereavements or family members going through cancer treatment. So we want to raise some money for them to help them on their journey as they continue to deliver a great service in the community. So that's all from me today. I hope you've enjoyed the video. Please do like, share, comment the YouTube channel, subscribe, all that sort of stuff. And I will see you all again next week for more live Ben on the Fen. Take care, everyone. Bye-bye.